who was sentenced to Lingqi in 1510. According to records, the executioner made 3,357 cuts over the course of 3 days. Liu Jin reportedly survived the first 2 days before finally dying on the third. The execution was carried out in a public market while vendors continued selling vegetables around him. Just another Tuesday in Imperial China, apparently. Today we're going over the most evil punishments in history. And look, I need to warn you, this one's going to get rough. Number 2. The Blood Eagle. It's the 9th century somewhere in Scandinavia, and a Viking warrior has just captured the man who killed his father. He's been waiting years for this moment. A simple death would be too merciful. This calls for something special, something his father's spirit can watch from Valhalla and know that his death has been properly avenged. This calls for the Blood Eagle. Now, there's been debate among historians about whether the Blood Eagle was actually performed, or if it was just something the Norse poets made up to sound tough. But multiple sagas describe it in enough detail that most scholars believe it probably happened at least a few times. And here's how it supposedly worked. The victim would be placed face down. A blade would be used to cut open the skin along the spine. Then, one by one, the ribs would be hacked away from the backbone and pried outward until they stuck out from the body like wings, while the victim was still alive and breathing. And then, as a final touch, the lungs would be pulled out through the opening and draped over the exposed ribs. The wings would flutter as the victim took their last agonizing breaths, creating the image of a bloody eagle. The most famous account comes from the saga of Ragnar Lothbrok. When Ragnar, one of the most legendary Viking warriors of all time, was captured and killed by King Aelle of Northumbria by being thrown into a pit of snakes, his sons vowed revenge. When they finally captured Aelle, they performed the blood eagle on him. The sagas describe Aelle's back being carved open while he was still very much alive, his ribs cracked and spread, his lungs pulled out and laid upon his shoulders. Whether every detail is historically accurate or not, the fact that the Vikings told these stories to each other as examples of what happens when you mess with the wrong family tells you a lot about the culture. This wasn't a punishment for petty crime. This was reserved for the kind of insult that could only be answered with the most savage, theatrical form of execution imaginable. You didn't just kill your enemy. You turned his body into a message. Some historians have argued that the blood eagle is just a misinterpretation of poetic language in the sagas, that phrases about carving an eagle on someone's